Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 30 female, dated a Pete, also 30, when we were freshly 16. We had a pretty wild relationship with some drinking. I never drank alcohol before, but Pete taught me, and a lot of bedroom activities that almost never occurred in an actual bedroom. I met Pete through a mutual friend when we were still 15, and we hit it off instantly. And within a few days, we were already dating and intimate. I was so madly in love with him. I was happy. It was great. We went to concerts and pubs and laughed a lot. We called ourselves the rock and roll couple because we were both into classic rock bands, but we were still just a duo of dumb teenagers. Prior to 2013, pubs in our country didn't check IDs, hence the drinking. Pete played guitar and sang and always wanted to be in a band, but none of his friends knew how to play anything, and it was tough to find someone. From my family friend who owned a record shop, I managed to get Pete to meet with two other guys, a bassist and a drummer, J and M, who wanted a singer for their band. Later on, they added Z to the band as a second guitarist. I created the name for their band, drew them a logo they used from then on. Hell, I even hooked them up with my uncle's empty garage they could use for a studio. They got pretty good, and within like 2 months, they got to play in pubs around town. They did mostly covers, but Pete wrote songs using my high school poems, which I didn't mind. We were in different schools, so we often met late in the evenings and weekends. With every concert they had, I was there for him and his bandmates, bringing them food, making sure his makeup was good, because eyeliner was king back then. Jay said I didn't have to do that, because they'll soon be getting paid for their concerts, but I was just trying to be nice. After one of their concerts, I went with Pete to his house. Since we were 16, he lived with his parents, whom I've never met back then. I stayed over, and obviously we got to do the bedroom activities in his bedroom, and again in the morning when we had to cut it short because his parents got back home. They didn't actually catch us, but when we go downstairs into the living room, they had the knowing look. Pete went to make us some breakfast when his mom, who I can only call Karen, took me by the elbow and nearly dragged me to the balcony so we could have a girl talk. She then proceeded to berate me. She called me S and cheap and dirty and asked questions. Which school do you go to? Oh, that's a public school in a bad neighborhood. What do your parents do? They're divorced? That makes sense for your upbringing. Do you use protection? I don't want him to catch one of your STDs. I was a virgin before Pete and I got together, and so was he. He can't be seen with an ugly girlfriend if he gets famous. He deserved someone better than you, etc., etc. She was just awful and said a lot of terrible things no teenager should ever hear. Mind you, Pete was already playing guitar and drinking alcohol before he met me, and his parents knew of that. When we got back inside, she completely switched her tune, telling Pete that I'm quite cute and that he should have brought me home sooner. This was about 5 months into our relationship. I was just bamboozled and didn't tell him anything, which I guess I should have. Since then, Karen and her husband came to every single concert and just shot glares at me. They acted all smiley when Pete finished playing. We were together 8 months when I caught Pete kissing a girl after one of the concerts. She was a sister of Z, the guitarist, and apparently liked Pete for about 2 weeks before she finally approached him and kissed him first, which I found out later through Z. I admit, I caused a huge scene, but come on, I was 16, and the guy who serenaded me after every S and told me he loves me more than life was playing tonsil hockey with someone else. He begged me not to break up with him, and that he would do anything to make it up to me. Again, we were dumb teenagers, and under the influence of alcohol. So in my very smart brain, I kissed all 3 of his bandmates in front of him. Good God, I'm cringing just thinking about it. We fought, but made up, and spent the night together outside. A few days later, Z sent me a picture of Pete and his sister sleeping in bed, saying we should get back at Pete by hooking up too, which I not so politely declined. Anyway, I broke it off with Pete and stopped talking to the mutual friend who introduced us for a while too, until he and I had a talk about what the hell happened. Through the friend, I periodically heard some updates about Pete and how he's using his fame. They got slightly popular in our country through a website that posted amateur bands to hook up with girls after every concert. I tried not to care, but it obviously hurt. It was my first serious relationship. When I was 18, I stopped talking as much to the mutual friend as well, since he found himself a girlfriend and she didn't want him to have any girlfriends. So I backed off. 2 years later, I moved several countries away from ours. Now we get to the bonkers encounter. 2 days ago, I went on Facebook, which I use maybe once or twice a month at this point, and saw a friend request from a woman with familiar surname. But I just couldn't place where I've heard it. It was the mom. I rejected the request, and yesterday evening I saw I got an email. It was her. I threw this into Google Translate because screenshotting this in our native language, I don't think many people would understand. Good day, my name. This is Pete's mother. We've not spoken in a while, and I think it is time. You rejected my Facebook request, so I had to send you an email because mutual friend said you no longer live in our country. I have to talk to you about Pete and what you have done. Your effect on his life was major, and you need to know you must take responsibility. I knew from the moment he brought you to our house that you were a trouble, and I was right. You corrupted our son in ways that can't be repaired. He almost died, and it's all because of you. Pete is a good guy, and I know you don't think it's your fault, but it is, and I'm so disappointed in you. We have to discuss this in person, because I believe you can still change. We can meet at pub and talk about this. Pete is now recovering, and you owe him and me an apology. Karen. I was just staring at it in shock. At this point, it's been 14 years since I saw Pete or his mom. I quickly messaged our mutual friend about it since we are still friends on Facebook, and he was just shocked. From him, I found out that Pete and the band toured our country more after they turned 18, because M and J were a year older than him, and even had CDs and an MV. They started doing D and basically lived their rock and roll dream. The band broke up 7 years ago when Pete was 23, but the drinking in D and sleeping around didn't stop. Mutual friends said that last month, Pete was driving under the influence and had a pretty nasty accident, which left him with a broken leg and arm, and some screws in his jaw. When mutual friend went to visit him in the hospital, that's when Karen cornered him and demanded to know where I live so we could talk. I moved countries. I'm literally across the sea. I have my own life. I don't think I'm responsible for what his life has become after we split, but I do feel sorry for him. I haven't replied to the email, and I'm not planning to. But seriously, what the hell? Edit update. I talked to the mutual friend for a bit more information and to catch up a little, as over the years, even though we remained Facebook friends, we never really talked besides the occasional birthday wishes and wedding congratulation. I got some additional information from him about Pete. Pete still lives with his parents in the same house. Apparently, he hasn't dated anyone since we broke up and just slept around. He was not grieving me in any way. He barely remembered me, which, to be honest, same for me. The band broke up because Z and J dated, broke up, and it was awkward to stay as a band. They managed to put out 2 CDs and 6 MVs, sold a couple thousand CDs, so good for them, I think. I don't want any payback or royalties for my poems he used for lyrics. I offered them to him back then. He liked them. I was fine with him using them, and it's not like they made much money with it anyway. I'm not taking credit for anything. I just don't care, to be honest. Also, Pete didn't take advantage of me or get me drunk to take my virginity. We were both virgins, and frankly, dumb teenagers. There was no one to blame for our stupid actions, be it drinking or having bedroom activities outdoors. We were both responsible for our actions, so there was no using each other. I didn't leave the country because of him. We were already broken up for over 3 years after we split. I moved away for work and just settled here. Mutual friend didn't know where exactly I live now, just the country, as we didn't speak much and I don't really post on Facebook. Karen never blamed Pete for anything. She and her husband see no wrong in his actions, ever. So I doubt she faults their parenting style for how Pete turned out, and I don't think there's anything me or anyone else could say that would change her mind. Apparently, this wasn't his first DUI accident. I deleted and blocked her email without responding to it. She sent another one though. This one was very short, but in all caps lock, demanding to meet. It was from a different email address, so I didn't notice it at first, because it was lost in between about 20 online shopping orders. But I blocked it too. Sorry, this isn't some juicy update. This mom is just looking for someone to blame for her son's accident. The person she should be blaming is her own son. Nothing OP says or does will help her, or get her off OP's back. OP needs to have a block party and continue to live her best life. And now let's hear the community's opinion. I'd be petty and send back, "Not my monkeys, not my circus," and then dulls it with, "It must be how he was raised," and then block her. What the fresh hell is this? This woman needs to teach me her mental gymnastics skills, because I cannot in my right mind understand how any of this was your teenage fault. She clearly is delusional. Block her and move on. Do not let any of this live rent-free in your head. Set up a day and time to meet her at the pub, and then don't. I mean, who expects a person to spend vacation amounts of money to go meet up for a showdown? Definitely not a normal person. My boyfriend Matt, 26, and I, 23 female, had our beautiful daughter 13 months ago. My mother, aged just 46, died when I was 3 months pregnant, and when we found out we were having a girl, we wanted to honor my mom. Her middle name was Delilah, fake name, so we named our baby Delilah and used the name we had for her originally as her middle name. It means a lot to me, as I've never known my dad, and I'm an only child, so it was always just me and my mom, and her death deeply haunts me. My boyfriend's sister Alice and her husband, both 30, are currently expecting their first child, a girl. I was so excited for them. We discussed names, and she said she likes Delilah, as she thinks it's beautiful, and she said she liked it when I named our kid that. I don't have an issue with two people sharing the same name, but I said to her it has a lot of sentimental meaning to me, as it's a tribute to my mom. She said quite callously she didn't care, and she thinks it's better suited to her baby than mine, and that since Delilah is only one, Alice thinks changing the name is no big deal. I laughed in her face and said under no circumstances am I changing my baby's name, and I politely asked her to reconsider another name, as I'm not protective over much, but I am over my dead mother and her name. Alice relented her attempted manipulation via texts, asking me in serious, aggressive tones that she always gets her way, and that I should just let her have Delilah, since I took the first grandchild prize away from her. Well, I was so livid, I leaked her texts. I sent screenshots to her family, her friends, my family, and all over social media, and called it exchanges with an entitled sister-in-law. Everybody saw it, and her parents have gone no contact with her. Her friends have cut her out. Even her work saw it and were reconsidering her position, as she works with vulnerable people. She's accusing me of destroying her life and reputation. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Number one thing mean people need to remember is never put anything in writing. She did, and her prize is that people can't choose to pretend she's a good person anymore, because the proof is there for all to see. You did not destroy her life or reputation. She did that all on her own. Not the a-hole. The reason she always gets her way is because she is an unpleasant person, and people would rather capitulate than actually deal with her tantrums. But the fact that she actually wanted you to change your child's name to accommodate her is loco, and she deserves every bit of bad karma coming her way. Not the a-hole. She ruined her life by her behavior. If people are cutting her off for acting like an a-hole, that's their choice. Actions come with consequences. You let people know how unreasonable she was, and they decided, for themselves, to act accordingly. Okay, you probably didn't have to put her on blast like that, but I don't blame you, and I'm not holding it against you. My, female, ex-husband left me when I was 4 months pregnant with our daughter, Gaia, 6 female. He has given up his parental rights and pays basic alimony. The only part of his family that wants to be present in Gaia's life is my ex-mother-in-law that, currently, I allow her to stay 1 weekend a month with my daughter. I met my current husband James when Gaia was only 8 months old, and it took almost a year for them to get to know each other, as I was extremely careful to actually trust him, and I don't regret introducing him to her. He became a father figure naturally, without me ever asking or demanding. He embraced our family with open arms and became a wonderful father to our daughter. They have a unique bond, and oh God, I've never seen such a happy person when Gaia called him father for the first time. And yes, he's the type of dad who puts all her drawings on the fridge and goes to every performance, claps his hands madly at the end. And everything was done naturally. He never forced a relationship with Gaia. Friday was the day I leave Gaia with her paternal grandmother, and almost always James can accompany us, because Friday is a day he works in another city. But on that day, he can accompany us. I got out of the car first, as I had to talk a few things with Grandma, some precautions and what meds she was taking, as she had a little flu, and I asked James to distract Gaia a bit. I spoke to her, but after I told her that Gaia was in the car with James, she got angry and said, "You must be careful. Don't leave my granddaughter with any man but the father." I got annoyed and said, "My husband has never done anything to Gaia. In fact, he is being a father that your son refused to be. And if you see a problem with a healthy and beautiful father-daughter relationship, you should seek help." She started screaming, saying that was an extremely rude thing to say, and that she was just worried about her granddaughter. And she insinuated that she would report me to the authorities, because something was happening with her granddaughter. These months Gaia is not so excited because we lost our dog, besides having a flu that is not going away so easily. The argument escalated to the point where I didn't leave Gaia with her. Since then, even my ex texted me saying I disrespected her and talked a lot. Didn't even ask about his daughter. Am I the a-hole? In case of doubt, my ex-mother-in-law still thinks the golden child will come back and win back his family. Not the a-hole, but you have no idea what she is saying to your child when your child stays with her. When your ex gave up his rights, she lost her rights as grandmother too. This situation is nothing but problems going forward because your ex-mother-in-law thinks her son is going to come back, and she is probably telling your daughter that. You have no way to know what she is saying to her because your child is too young to remember everything, and too young to understand the context or meaning. This episode has shown you that your ex-mother-in-law doesn't want any partner of yours around her granddaughter. That isn't realistic and isn't supportive of you and her granddaughter having healthy relationships. It's all about her and what she wants, not what your granddaughter needs. Not the a-hole. The daughter was in the car with her father. Your mother-in-law is in full denial over the fact that her son has completely abandoned his own child, and another man has stepped in. You may want to be careful in continuing that relationship. She will try and poison your daughter against James. 6 months ago, I, 20 female, moved my younger sister, 18, to my state because she was unhappy in her situation. I spent close, if not more than $5,000 of my hard-earned money on this trip. She was only going to move here temporarily, about a year and a half, and settle some stuff, like finishing school. I told her she didn't have to pay me back because all I wanted from the exchange was for her to get her diploma. We got her into a good credit recovery high school the last 4 weeks of the last school year. She didn't finish, so they accepted her as a 5th year, a limited position. She would probably finish in half a school year and maybe even less than that if she worked hard enough. She makes it obvious that she hates school, but she did at least want to graduate. During the summer, however, she got back with her ex from where she used to live. She went down there 2 times, and he even came down here. Well, the school year just started, like it's only been 2 days. Yesterday, she decided to drop out and move back. Our mother bought a plane ticket to come pick her up today. They're going to rent a van and leave. Reasons for her to move back. 1. Boyfriend. They've been together for 3 weeks. They were together for a month exactly a year ago. Some of the girls at school don't like her. They actively ignore her. She does have a friend at school. Doesn't like school, though she does admit it was the best school she ever went to. I tried convincing her to at least finish school and leave earlier than planned. That didn't work. I feel betrayed. I told her she could pay me back or not talk to me again. She was upset by this because I did previously tell her she didn't have to pay me back. I just don't think she fulfilled her part of the exchange. I know it's extreme. It is currently happening, so it might just be the anger talking. I also don't think she would pay me back unless I made it that extreme. Am I being petty or am I right in asking for the money back? You are totally right. First of all, you did her a favor. She did not complete her end of the bargain, therefore you have a right to change yours. You did not need to help her in that way, and you did, which she should be considerate enough about that. She is the a-hole. Also, your parents should step in and or have her boyfriend help her out, since he clearly is also part of the issue on why she could not keep her end of the bargain. If she is not going to get her diploma, she can work, and if he does also, make an effort to pay you back. Not the a-hole. You gave her money specifically for her to get a diploma. She didn't do that, so she didn't finish her part of the exchange, and you are not responsible for her poor decisions. I get why she's angry, but that's on her. She likely knew the conditions and decided she just didn't care because she assumed you would still pay. Sometimes you need to learn hard lessons, and in this case, the lesson costs her $5,000. I, 28 female, have been best friends with Adam, 28 male, since we were 12 years old. We've always been really close, but haven't lived in the same city since we left our hometown for college at 18. When we left, Adam gave me a necklace that has both of our names engraved on it. I've worn it every day since, including on my wedding day. Recently, Adam got engaged to his girlfriend of 5 years, Amy. I'm so happy for them as she's a lovely girl who brings out the best in him. Plus, added bonus that we've always got along. Last weekend, my husband and I went to stay with them to celebrate their engagement and generally catch up. After a couple of drinks, Amy suddenly asked me if I would finally take off my necklace since they're engaged. Adam told her I didn't have to before I could even say anything. She pushed it. He ended up snapping at her to leave it alone, and she started crying. I put it down to have a few drinks too many and figured that was the end of it. But in the morning, she raised it again, saying it made her uncomfortable. Again, Adam cut her off and said I didn't have to. After we got home, my husband said I should just take it off because it's kind of weird, even though he's never said this before, and it doesn't actually change our friendship if I do. Plus, that I would be an a-hole for continuing to wear it when she's clearly uncomfortable. But I don't want to take it off. It's my favorite, and it reminds me of my best friend that I don't see often. Would I be the a-hole if I don't take it off? Not the a-hole. This is between Adam and Amy, and she shouldn't have gotten you involved, drunk or not. This is a gift he gave you way before meeting her, and it's a token of true friendship. There is nothing for Amy to feel uncomfortable about. If she still is, that's up to her to figure it out, not up to you to accommodate her illogical demands. I would have a conversation with your husband, though. Was he just trying to do the old "to keep the peace"? Or does he actually have a problem with the necklace and took this chance to express it? If he is also uncomfortable with it, then that is something for you to consider more seriously. Personally, I think you should still wear it. It's yours. The person who gave it to you wants you to wear it, and it's perfectly innocent. I'm going no a-hole. I think an important factor here is that your husband is on Amy's side. To me, this means it has in fact been bothering him, but he knew better to bring it up. I can understand it bothering your partners, and I can understand why you want to keep it on. No one's an a-hole for how they feel about something that is often seen as a romantic gesture between romantically compatible genders, and seen as friendship between romantically incompatible genders. I'll try to keep it simple and brief. Whenever I go to meet my husband after work, he greets me quite coldly, without a smile, and it seems like he's embarrassed by me. He never says I look nice or smiles or kisses me. My husband has never liked how I dress and has always wanted to change it since we met. I went to art school, grew up in London, and my style is influenced by that. I used to wear all black, I know, but branched out into other colors on my husband's request. I usually wear dresses. I try to have nice hair and makeup whenever I meet my husband, but I suppose my style is bohemian, art school, because that's my social circle and my cultural upbringing. My husband thought that me wearing all black signified being depressed, and he's partially correct, which is why I initially conceded. My husband grew up in a small Eastern European city and is influenced by that. He likes sportswear, classic Italian styles, Ralph Lauren, etc. It seems important to him culturally to dress well, which means for me, a classic Kate Middleton-esque style. Sometimes he likes when I wear tighter bodycon dresses. He's generally more about conforming and conservatism, which is his cultural background to some degree. What also doesn't help is that my husband doesn't really have any friends older than him. They're all the same age or slightly younger. I've always suspected that my husband would like to be with a mid-20s sports luxe kind of girl, but was too shy to approach them. I mistakenly approached my husband first. He seems impressed by my friend's younger girlfriends. To complicate things further, I was in a 6-year relationship with a man who kept me hidden from his friends, the whole 6 years, because I wasn't pretty enough. I look averagely pretty, I'd say. I was around 62 kilograms when I met my husband, but am currently 70 kilograms after giving birth 4 months ago. I was 84 kilograms leaving the hospital, so these factors cloud my judgment. My husband calls me attractive and grabs me all the time when we were at home, and sometimes in public. I just can't get over the unemotional greeting, which could also be his stoic Eastern European face. We've been together for 2 years. Yes, it sounds like he'd like for you to dress and appear more like his ideal. I'm sorry you're in this situation. It's always awful dating an insecure man who projects those insecurities onto his partner. Your current fashion sounds fun and terrific and bohemian. His sounds more generic and preppy. You shouldn't have to change your fashion, essentially who you are, to suit an insecure man's tastes. But as you have a child together now, and it makes you feel insecure that your look makes him insecure, then maybe find ways to meet his desires while not betraying your own. Your husband is being controlling and gross. Also, wearing black does not mean you're depressed. That's an incredibly stupid thing for him to say. I feel like you married a superficial, unintelligent person. It seems easy enough to have an outfit your husband likes and wear it when you show up at his work. In his work environment, he may be trying to impress with a preppy look. It is easy enough to go with his flow in his environment. And ask him if this is a work thing or does he expect you to change your style all the time. By the way, spouses represent each other in all cultures. I will not let my husband wear something stupid in public. He once wanted to wear a necktie with a t-shirt, and it was a definite no, not with me. I, male 26, went to my little cousin's, 12, party yesterday. Many other cousins were also present. Almost by the end of the party, we, the older cousins, decided to hang out in the backyard. Jane, female 17, sister of the birthday boy, asked me to take a photo together. When we were all going to do it, Lauren, female 27, got in. No problem there. But right after taking the picture, she decided to charge us $50 each. Why? Because she thinks she is a big shot and a celebrity for having 1,000 followers in her social media. Jane and I told her to flip off, and Jane deleted the photo. We continued taking pictures with the other cousins without Lauren. She then tried to claim that we would gain followers with her in the photos, and when no one paid her attention, she tried to put everyone down by claiming we were jealous of her fame. I told her to get lost, and she did, but she went to complain to her mom and mine. My aunt came out of the house and tried to scold me like I was 5, and went on a rant saying I was jealous of Lauren. I told her of what I should be jealous of. If something, I would be of Mary, who actually makes money off her social media and gets products. I mean, who doesn't want that? Or of David, who makes money out of posting thirst traps. Not even him is charging us money. No one here is acting like we're walking on water or putting people down because we feel important. My aunt changed her tone and said that I humiliated Lauren and tried to kick me out, but it wasn't her house. I left anyway, and the rest of my cousins followed. My mother is pissed that I ruined my little cousin's party, that I was too harsh on Lauren and wrong for excluding her from the photos. She saw them in my cousin's social medias and is sad. I agreed about my little cousin. I called him to apologize, but he didn't even notice when we left. He was busy playing video games with his friends. Well, if you weren't going to pay her for being in your photos, why would she expect you to take pictures of her? She sounds very confused about what she really wants. Not the a-hole. You didn't ruin the cousin's party. Her spoiled attitude did.